I'm the chair of Blackburn Business Improvement District. I'm Nicola Clayton. I'm a director at Blackburn College also. So some practicalities with us being online. If everyone can ensure that they're on mute unless they're presenting, just to improve the sound quality for everybody. If you've got a question during the meeting or a point you want to make, then please feel free to put that in the chat. I know that Catherine's going to be monitoring that, and Lisa, and then we can answer those in the Q&A at the end of the session. We're also recording the session as well for those that can't be here. So if you don't want your picture to be involved in the recording, then please feel free to switch your camera off. Okay. So by way of introduction to the bid and this AGM, the bid's managed by an executive board, for those of you who aren't aware, of which I'm the chair, and Lorraine Jones from the MAL is the vice chair. And then we have 15 executive board positions that consist of both businesses and key stakeholders that operate within the bid area. So the role of our bid executive board is governance of the bid, to guide the direction of the delivery of the bid business plan, to guide and monitor the work and performance of the bid manager, so Catherine, to approve expenditure, and also to monitor and report on the performance to our levy payers, for whom obviously we're the whole purpose that we're here for, to improve the town. So the executive board met 6 times during 2021, including an executive board strategy planning session that we held in November, and 13 of the 15 executive board member positions were filled throughout the year. So we had a good, vibrant, healthy board, I'm pleased to say. So in addition to myself and Lorraine, the executive board members in 2021 were Councillor Phil Riley, Sue Burns from Boots, Sarah Danson from Primark, Adriana Gunchon and Eleanor Garner from Marks and Spencer's, Very Reverend Peter Howell-Jones, the Dean of Blackburn Cathedral, Paul Mason from CVS, Pelly from Pelly Menswear, Eileen Murphy, who I think has just joined us from McDonald's, James, who's here, James Street from TK Maxx, our colleagues from the Youth Zone, Melanie and Dwayne, I'm pleased to see here, and Catherine Wheatley from Santander. So quite a good mix there in terms of organisations represented, with some new people, but also some people that have been with the bid for some time, helping to guide and take us forward. So I'd like to thank all those board members for the help and support that they give free of charge over the last 12 months. It's very much appreciated. Obviously it's been a difficult few months, a difficult few years really, in terms of the pandemic, but also changes to town centres. So it's really important that we all work together to make sure that we do the best for our town, for the community and for our businesses. The town centre bid's got 3 priorities for this bid term, which runs from 2019 to 2023. And they're around marketing and promotion of Blackburn as a vibrant town centre, creating a safer and more secure Blackburn town centre, and also creating a sustainable, cleaner, greener, more attractive environment. So today we're going to hear from our bid manager, Catherine Price, Police Inspector Scott Boast, and Councillor Phil Riley as to what's been delivered in order to meet these priorities in 2021 during what's been another challenging year, and also what's to come in the months ahead for the town centre. We're going to show a film now that's been prepared by Catherine, our bid manager, and Lisa from Viva PR, that gives an overview of bid delivery in 2021.
Catherine Price, and I'm the Blackburn bid manager covering Blackburn Town Centre and 3 retail parks. 2021 was year 3 of this bid term and was another busy year. Altogether, with bid levy income and external funding, Blackburn Bid invested over £400,000 in Blackburn Town Centre to support businesses, attract people into the town centre and make the town centre safer, cleaner and greener. The aim is to make Blackburn Town Centre the destination of choice for people's shopping, leisure, services and social needs, and that when they come, they stay for as long as possible. Blackburn BID's biggest priority in terms of budget and supporting businesses to recover from the impact of the pandemic is marketing and promotion. During 2021, the BID delivered a lot of marketing and promotion initiatives. The Creative Spaces project was delivered with the help of High Street Recovery funding, thanks to Blackburn with Darwen Council. 13 artists were commissioned to create community-themed artworks to fill empty shops and brighten public spaces, creating a trail around the town centre. Some of the artworks have become permanent features of the town centre, such as the planters on Ainsworth Street and the community sign at the top of Town Hall Street. The Welcome Back to Blackburn campaign supported businesses reopening after lockdown and included random acts of kindness with a fairy godmother treating customers to free shopping and experiences, the Welcome Back social media campaign, Welcome Back signage and a music event with pop-up entertainment. The Brickosaur's Brick Model Trail saw 15 brick model dinosaurs located around the town centre with a printed map trail and a QR code trail on the app to complete. Over 9,000 families took part in the trail, which also helped to raise money for East Lancs Hospice. The visual arts competition, Paint the Town 2021, was delivered in partnership with the Bureau Centre for the Arts and saw artists capturing Blackburn both in the town centre and at home over the course of one day. Our Creepy Creature Halloween Trail had 12 pumpkin pictures in town centre businesses for families to find during the October half term. Over 350 families took part in the trail, and new BID members got involved with the event, hosting a pumpkin. 6 giant monster-themed inflatable light sculpture installations took over the town centre as part of the Monster Mayhem event in November, with 3 on the rooftops of the Mall, King George's Hall and 1 Cathedral Square, 1 in a treetop on Church Street, and tentacles in Blackburn Library and the Mall. The event was shortly after the Creepy Creature Trail and was aimed at attracting footfall and kick-starting the Illuminate Blackburn festive programme. The award-nominated Illuminate Blackburn Christmas programme was delivered in partnership with Blackburn with Darwen Council and the Mall and included the Christmas Light Switch On event featuring choir master Gareth Malone, which was filmed for BBC Two. The event attracted over 3,000 people and saw increases in footfall compared with both 2020 and 2019. The Snowman and the Snow Dog Brick Model Trail event launched on the same day with 16 models around the town centre with new BID members who hadn't been part of trail events before. Blackburn BID also supported and promoted the amazing Blackburn Festival of Light event, which saw a light parade return to the town centre for its 10th year. Throughout the year, working with Viva PR, Blackburn BID also delivered promotional campaigns supporting national initiatives, Blackburn businesses and town centre events, including Blackburn Rocks for Mental Health Awareness Week, Welcome Back to Blackburn and Countdown to Christmas. In partnership with Blackburn with Darwen Council, Blackburn BID continued to fund 2 dedicated town centre police officers. 1 new police officer was recruited, PC Scott Leatherbarrow, to join PC Emma Lockheed, and we delivered a partner profile on PC Leatherbarrow on social media to introduce him to our BID members and raise awareness of his role. In 2021, Town Centre Police dealt with 645 incidents and the police officers made 83 arrests. Prestige Security provided daily security patrols in the town centre throughout the year, supporting businesses, dealing with retail crime and antisocial behaviour, and helping to ensure town centre events were delivered safely. We've had lots of positive feedback from BID members and the police about the security patrols and the impact they've had. We've continued to work with and support Blackburn Businesses Against Crime, or BBAC, to reduce crime and antisocial behaviour in the town centre. We were only able to deliver 1 BBAC meeting due to the pandemic, but that meeting had a good turnout and was really productive. To reflect retail crime and shoplifting being one of the biggest issues in the town centre, working with BBAC and the town centre policing team, we produced the Retail Crime Guide. The guide supports town centre retailers dealing with crime and promotes partnership working with the police. BBAC and Blackburn BID became joint members of National Business Crime Solution, or NBCS, in 2021. It's a not-for-profit initiative that works with the police and the business community to help tackle business crime by gathering data and sharing information across public and private sectors. Blackburn BID has also worked closely with Blackburn with Darwen Council's community safety and housing teams, street homeless support services, including the town centre reach worker, BBAC and the Mall Shopping Centre to tackle crime and antisocial behaviour issues in the town centre. 4 new planters were built, installed and planted with community groups Age UK, Blackburn Food Bank, Child Action Northwest and Blackburn with Darwen Adult Learning as part of Blackburn BID's Blackburn in Bloom Growing Places project. The project also involved redesigning, refurbishing and replanting 6 existing planters in partnership with Blackburn College and Blackburn Youth Zone. Blackburn Town Centre, thanks to the partnership work of Blackburn in Bloom, was awarded 3 Britain in Bloom Northwest Awards. A deep clean of King William Street was carried out in spring 2021, including the paving and street furniture. Coordinated by BBAC, Blackburn BID and some of its members supported a town centre community litter pick. A new community-themed artist mural was created and installed in partnership with the Mall in the bike sheds area of the town centre. The mural was created by local artist Alexandra Gallagher and was pictured in the Times newspaper. It was part of an ongoing targeted improvements project for this part of the town centre. New additional Christmas lights for Darwen Street, Ainsworth Street and Salford areas were purchased and installed, and in partnership with Blackburn with Darwen Council will be included in the annual Christmas lights display. To highlight and showcase Blackburn Town Centre's green spaces and encourage people to spend longer in the town centre, an open spaces map illustrated by Ursula Hurst was printed on signs and leaflets. So how did all of this activity impact on our footfall? Springboard, the National Retail Footfall Counter, has confirmed that in 2021, the total number of visitors for the year in Blackburn Town Centre was 2,056,769, which was up 5.3% against Springboard's national benchmark and up 5.7% against the regional benchmark. I'm delighted that these projects and initiatives had a positive impact on the town centre and our BID members. The town centre survey completed in November last year told us that 51% of businesses think that Blackburn BID provides value for money. Here's some of your feedback too. Thank you to all BID members, partners and our executive board for your support of Blackburn BID in 2021.
Thank you. I can see a few people clapping there, so thank you very much to Catherine and Lisa for putting that together. I think it's really helpful to have a look back and see what's been achieved over the year. I think it's really good to see so much community involvement there as well. Really good to hear the feedback from the businesses, and also fantastic news, isn't it, to get 3 Britain in Bloom Awards. Lovely to see all that work being done to improve the environment and how Blackburn looks. Before we look forward to the next 2022 and the rest of this year, we need to go through the audit report. It's important at an AGM that we are able to show the review that takes place by Beavers and Struthers of the accounts to ensure that we're open and transparent in terms of how the funding's spent and how the checks are that take place on that. So unfortunately, Beavers & Struthers couldn't be with us today, but I know that Lisa has got a short video presentation to show us from Mark Bradley of Beavers & Struthers with our audit report.
Thank you for inviting me to join the AGM for Blackburn Town Centre BID 2021 year end. Unfortunately, I can't be with you this afternoon as I have a prior engagement. In keeping with prior years, we'll keep this very brief and we'll let you focus on the main activities of what the BID has been up to this year. So, quick summary of the financial position. Income for the financial year of 425,000 versus a budget of 338,000. Broadly, the reason for that increase is a result of additional event income of 87,000 that has been generated by the BID executive team, but also a few other small ups and downs through the income streams for the year. The income figure there of 425,000 covers the cumulative surplus for 33,000 brought forward from prior years as well. Looking at the expenditure, there was budgeted expenditure for the year of 310,000, but that was thanks to securing the additional income for the year we mentioned previously. They were able to undertake some additional events that weren't included within the budget, and total expenditure was actually higher by about 90,000 at £400,000. Cumulative surplus carried forward for future years is 25,000, and that is after including committed costs. Regarding the work done by ourselves for this year's review, we've concentrated on both income and expenditure as in prior years. And regarding expenditure, we've gone through a sample of invoices, agreeing them back to purchase orders, and making sure that everything is according to plan. And over a sample of 15 items, no errors were identified. Looking at committed costs, we've also agreed those to purchase orders to ensure the cut-off was correct and that the orders were raised prior to the 31st of December. And over a sample of 5 items, no issues were identified. Looking at the cut-off of the invoice and the expenditure, making sure that everything was accounted for in the correct financial year, we've looked through both invoices raised pre and post 31st December 2021, and no issues were identified. Moving on to income, we undertake very similar processes, and we've looked through a total of 14 sales invoices covering 85% of the income, and no issues were identified with those. Similarly, looking at the cut-off both pre and post 31st December, we were happy that everything was accounted for in the correct financial year. We've also done a little bit of work around the other income streams I mentioned, making sure that the income from the events and marketing was accounted for in the correct financial period, and again, no issues were identified.
Okay, so thank you to Mark and the team at Beavers & Struthers for the certification and the helpful overview there. And we're going to now join Catherine, our bid manager, to look ahead at the bid delivery plan in 2022. So I think Lisa's going to show us another video.
2022 is year 4 of the second 5-year bid term of Blackburn BID, running from 2019 to 2023. The 3 priority themes for this bid term are marketing and promotion, making the town centre safer and more secure, and making it cleaner, greener and more sustainable. In this second term, the BID has operated in a pandemic for over 22 months, and a crisis management and recovery plan developed in 2020 has paved the way for what has had to be a dynamic and flexible bid service delivery so far. In November 2021, working with the retail group, Blackburn with Darwen Council and the MAL, Blackburn BID commissioned a survey of town centre businesses to find out how they've been affected by the pandemic, what their views of the town centre are, and how they think the BID is performing. This has provided valuable feedback and a focus for this year's bid delivery. The survey results were reviewed and discussed at a bid executive board strategy planning session, where board members determined some key objectives and deliverables for the bid, working with town centre partners. Bid member feedback through the survey and other engagement, together with the strategy planning session, have informed the Blackburn Bid Delivery Plan 2022. It's also led to the development of this overarching vision for year 4 of the bid, which has 3 parts. Firstly, Blackburn bid members feel engaged with the bid and take ownership of bid projects, services and initiatives. Secondly, the Blackburn Town Centre offer is showcased and celebrated. And thirdly, bid project and service delivery is focused on sustainability and improving and enhancing existing town centre assets. So what's in store for Blackburn Bid in 2022? Marketing and promoting the Blackburn Town Centre and our businesses is a big priority for this year, particularly as we come out of the pandemic. This means more creative support and promotion of the town centre, delivery of the Best of Blackburn promotional campaign, which was developed by the Blackburn Bid Executive Board, family-focused trail type events at key times of the year, continued support for Blackburn Town Centre businesses and particularly independent businesses, and improved online and in-person visitor information. Bid members have told us that there needs to be more improvements to safety and security in the town centre, and that antisocial behaviour, retail crime and begging are big issues, and so we'll continue to provide funding for town centre policing in partnership with Blackburn with Darwen Borough Council. We'll provide targeted security patrols at peak times and in hotspot areas, as well as to support events. We'll continue with support for BBAC, Blackburn Businesses Against Crime, and the DISC system, as well as more partnership working to tackle antisocial behaviour and crime issues. Bid members want us to continue with improvements to the town centre environment and to target certain areas of the town centre for improvement. And so this year, we'll be delivering targeted improvements to gateways and grot spots, more deep cleaning, improvements to empty properties, more town centre planting and improvements to green spaces, and community litter picks. It's really important that we work together with our partners and with bid members. We'll make sure we're involving bid members with each of the services and initiatives, communicating updates about what we're delivering and evaluating the impact with our bid members and partners. As a bid member, please do get involved with bid events and initiatives. Give us feedback on what we're delivering and how we can help you. And please don't forget to tell us your news so we can spread the word about all the great things that you're doing. I'm looking forward to continuing to support businesses through 2022 and Blackburn Bid delivering even more creative, innovative and exciting projects.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that summary, Catherine. It's good to see the direction that we're going in as we progress forward in 2022. Going to move on now to, I'd like to welcome Scott to join us, so Lancashire Police Inspector Scott Boast, for an overview of town centre policing in 2021-2022. I think Catherine's got a pre-recorded interview with Inspector Boast that Lisa will play for us now.
Hello everybody, my name's Scott Boast. I am the local police inspector with responsibility for the Blackburn with Darwen district, which of course includes Blackburn Town Centre. So if I talk about first of all what your Blackburn Town Centre team looks like in terms of the model, you've got a dedicated local policing sergeant who is Steve Dundon. I'm sure you all know him, and then the team operate on a 3-week shift pattern. So you've got a dedicated police constable on each of those time teams. So you've got 3 full-time PCs working within Blackburn Town Centre, and they will be on duty between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Sunday through to until Thursday, and 8 a.m. until midnight on a Friday and Saturday. What you've also got is you've got 3 full-time PCSOs aligned to those PCs. So again, 1 on each time team. And then you've got a 4th PCSO who is on a kind of flexible working pattern, but she crosses over all 3 teams. So that's your current model. In terms of additional investment, what that looks like for us at the minute is we've already committed to putting a dedicated PC working in the CCTV control room, and that has been really, really positive. The kind of results that we've got from that have been fantastic. What we've also got is we're currently uplifting our Blackwood Darwen task force team. For those of you that don't know what the task force team is, that is our targeting arm of local policing, if you like, that work under my command. We've got 2 new PCs starting on that team on the 1st of April, so that will take us up to 5 PCs. And they are my point and shoot squad. So if we have an issue anywhere in Blackburn and Darwen, I will point and shoot them at that issue. So that might be Blackburn Town Centre, or it could be any other district, depending on what the issues are facing. Organisationally, what we've done is we've uplifted the business and designing out crime team, who can be used to conduct detailed analysis for us, but in addition are able to come out and do visual audits of particular issues. To give you an example of that, we used it at Own Bargains just off the town centre. I know it's just off the town centre map, but what we've seen as a result of going out and doing the visual audit, a crime prevention report was then produced by the analyst, which was provided to the management team, that said, if you make these changes to your store, it will result in less crime occurring in your store because you've taken measures yourself in order to mitigate the risks associated with your store. Last year, if I think about July and August, we were suffering from 38, 39 logs July and August for Own Bargains, and by December we were down to 5 reports of the thefts. So there was a significant reduction there.
Right.
In addition to that, a brand new team is literally being set up as we speak, which are going to be the East Divisional, and I have to read this, East Divisional Problem Solving Team, who can be accessed and deployed to support local problems. So that is going to be a dedicated problem solving team who, if we've got an issue in our area, it could be on the town centre, where we say, you know what, we've done everything we think we can do, and actually we don't know what else there is available to us. We can use the problem solving team to come in, fresh eyes, and take ownership of that particular problem. We've seen some investment in our analytical capability, and I know I talked about this previously with yourself, Catherine, and Claire Turner, but our visibility package, Good Sam, which will give us a really clear understanding around what visibility looks like for us in Blackburn Town Centre, is going live this month. By the end of February, every single member of staff will be linked into the visibility package Good Sam, and it will allow me, it will allow Steve, it will allow all of the supervisors to review what the visibility looks like. So, I know we've spoken previously around, the need for visibility in the town centre. Well, that will give us really clear analysis of what that visibility looks like and when, the right times that it looks like. We've got a load of analytical products which give us information about absolutely everything. The only thing that we've been missing is understanding what that visibility looks like. But the package will give me really clear analysis around actually how much time did we spend there, how often were we there, were they doing what I was asking them to do, and it will just give us a really clear picture around making sure that we've got the right people in the right place at the right time, and that's really important, certainly from a visibility point of view, isn't it? There is an issue with violent crime within Blackburn Town Centre and just on the outskirts, and what we've seen is a dedicated pot of money that allows us to deploy 2 PCs every Friday, Saturday, and I think Sunday. I might just have to clarify that, but certainly Friday and Saturday in Blackburn Town Centre, with the sole focus of addressing violent crime within the centre. So that's where we currently are as a team, and I hope that provides some reassurance around what we've got in place to try and tackle some of the issues that clearly we all know we have.
So other than the pandemic, what have been the biggest challenges for your team last year in the town centre?
In terms of the town centre specifically, we've saw an increase in protest activity linked to COVID vaccination centres, which we've had to manage, and we've seen an increase in violent crime and ASB. And
you've talked about the police officers in the town centre. So the council fund a town centre police officer, Blackburn BID funds a town centre police officer, and the police funds a town centre police officer, and that we've got that dedicated team of 3.
Yeah.
What have you delivered over and above thanks to that partnership with the council and Blackburn BID?
Right, I think so. First of all, the engagement work around Lancashire Talking, I think that's fantastic, and I'm not sure that has been replicated in any other town, in any other town centre. So that's kind of a first for us, certainly in Lancashire. So I'm really, really happy with that. I think the reduction in doors begging across the town centre, certainly the feedback that we've been getting from the community is that, yes, there is still an issue there, but not to the severity as it was 6-7 months ago. Increase of use of civil orders has been massive for us. It's kind of the first protocol for us. If somebody's committing an offence, we might initially start off with words of advice and or an arrest, and then the second time we'll then look at escalating it through the use of civil orders, through community protection warnings, community protection notices, breaching of the public space protection order, which is already in place in the town centre. And then, if they're not effective, we're then looking at those criminal behaviour orders. And the use of civil orders in the town centre over the last 12 months has risen, quite dramatically. And we're seeing the impact of that. It's put us in a really strong position moving forward. So I think that's probably what, in terms of a partnership, I'm kind of really pleased with. And obviously, hopefully, long may that continue.
And just for anybody who's not familiar, the CBO criminal behaviour orders allow the court to say this is the kind of behaviour that is not allowed in the town centre, and can even go so far as to exclude people from the town centre, can't they?
That's right, yeah.
And looking ahead to this year, what does it hold for your team?
There's real pressure on Steve and his team to really address some of the issues that our business community are telling us they want us to focus on. I'm a really keen believer that none of the problems that we face on Blackburn Town Centre are specific to Blackburn Town Centre. There is, if we're talking about...
I've seen that video that many times. I can fill in the blanks there if you want.
All right, stop. I'm sorry about that, everybody.
It's all right. Scott, you were talking about that there's things we can learn from other policing teams, other areas, because none of the issues we're facing in Blackburn Town Centre are unique to Blackburn. And so if there's anything we can learn from other areas, you're quite happy to send a team out, aren't you, to have a look at what can we learn, what can we use in Blackburn, and then ultimately you want Blackburn to be a beacon for what town centre policing and partnership working should be, and that people should be coming to you and us to say, how have you dealt with that, what can we learn from you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I mentioned this morning, but if we look at Lancashire in general, the amount of resources and commitment from partners in Blackburn Town Centre in comparison to other towns is phenomenal. So certainly for me, last year was all around improving our engagement, improving our relationships, but this year it's about actually addressing some of those long-term problems that we're facing. So the pressure is certainly on Steve. I know he's on this call, but the pressure's on Steve to work with yourselves to deliver some of those solutions over the next 12 months. But absolutely, if we have an ASB issue in Blackburn, it's not new. It's we have ASB issues in other town centres, so we need to go and have a look out at what people are doing and what they've done to address it.
And the other thing you just ended there with was a thank you to BID members. Do you want to just elaborate on that for me?
I will. I'll apologise because I give Catherine a bit of work to do, because that video was 32 minutes long, so Catherine had to try and cut that right down because it would have taken.
I hope you were all right with it in the final edit.
But yeah, for me, I suppose the first thing I'd like to say is it's just a really big thank you for your continued support and investment. It's not lost on us that, as we come out of the pandemic, hopefully touch wood, that everybody's counting the financial costs of what the last couple of years have done. So it's not unnoticed. So genuinely, I understand that I'm under pressure to make sure that you get a return on that investment, but it's, I'm really, really thankful that investment's there and we're able to deliver on hopefully some of the things that you would like us to do.
That's super. Thank you for that video and obviously those additional points. And I think I want to agree, some of the questions that Catherine asked there were quite challenging and to the point, and it's good that you gave us the direct answers. And as you say, it's about keeping that communication going, isn't it? I think there are a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know if Catherine, do you want to pick those up? Question around meeting the team.
Yeah, certainly. So Sarah from Primark says the problem solving team sounds fantastic. How do we meet with them?
Well, actually, it's not a bad question, that. I suppose we could probably do that through Steve Dundon. So that team is in its infancy. It is a divisional resource, so it's not a team that is just going to be for Blackburn and Blackburn Town Centre. It is a divisional resource, but absolutely, once we get them in post and get them settled in, then if Steve wants to make those arrangements, if you go through Sergeant Steve Dundon, and he'll do that for you.
Great. And the other one, which I'm very happy to read out, is more of feedback. So thank you, James. It's James from TK Maxx. And he says, the relationships and teamwork here is brilliant. Well done to Catherine, the BID, BBAC and the police and all partners involved. I cover 9 cities and we don't see this engagement in any of them. So that's really appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks all. Thank you for that. We're going to ask Phil Riley now, Councillor Phil Riley from Blackburn Medora Borough Council, who's also a BID board member and the council's executive member for growth and development, to talk about developments from the town centre, from the council's perspective. Over to you, Phil.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no cleverness about this. This is just me speaking, so it will be me. So I thought what would be worth mentioning first of all was the town centre master plan, which we published just before Christmas, and this is a sort of 10-year plan that's going to completely reshape sections of the town centre. We've put a sort of notional number of about £250 million worth of investment over that period of time, so it's quite sizable. The first thing that we've started is work on repurposing and renovating St John's Church, which was obviously significantly fire damaged, and we've just appointed an architectural company from Manchester called OMI, who've done some quite exciting stuff in terms of repurposing buildings of heritage. So that we're quite excited about that. The next stage is working with them is to get the rest of their design team into place. So that's the first thing that kind of happens. The next thing that you ought to see fairly soon is some activity around the Fleece pub, which we saved. This was a bit of a pet project of mine, to be honest, because it was going to be demolished. It was within Thwaites' sort of demolition area, and I just really couldn't understand why it was. So we sort of persuaded them to leave it out, and the council now own it, and we are looking to bring it forward really very specifically as a sort of town centre bar and bistro. We're talking to some operators, and there's going to be some work done fairly soon where we're going to demolish this, so that there's a building at the side of it attached to it. Had a number of purposes over the last sort of 20 years, so that'll be coming down, and that'll sort of enable a kind of beer garden type thing to be created. So hopefully there'll be some activity on that fairly soon. The big story is obviously the intended move of Morrison's from their existing site to a new designed store on the old Thwaites' brewery site, and it's not like 100% certain, but it's probably in the high 90s now. There's quite a large team of people, both at Morrison's and at the council, working to make that happen. Morrison's want to do it. I think they believe that their existing store is a bit old-fashioned. It doesn't fit with their sort of new profiles. It's also, I think, it's not very environmentally successful in terms of how it works. So they're keen to make it happen. So as some of you might have seen, we were doing some test bore drilling up there a few weeks ago, such like that. If that happens, then the next stage is that the council will effectively procure the Morrison store now. We will turn their car park into a town centre car park, and we will demolish their store with the intention of putting residential on there. And this is something that's been a long-term ambition of ours, was to get people back living in the town centre, you know, so that it becomes kind of less of an event and to come into the town centre. It'll help the sort of the businesses that are here. And we're looking at around about 500 apartments and such like on that site. So that's the next stage. Once we get our hands on the car park, that then means that the Brown Street car park we can be repurposed, and we're looking at putting some kind of green techie businesses on there in the sort of long term or the medium term future. There's a number of other kind of I was going to say cosmetic changes, greening up and having little walkways and such like. So if all of that happens, then we, as I said, it will certainly reshape a lot of this side of the town centre. What else are we doing? I mean, there's other things going on. Some of you will have noticed that there's hoardings up now around the pub that I still call the Ribblesdale. Gladstone's, that's right, it was temporarily, wasn't it? The fit out's going on in there. We're really hopeful that will be up and running. We've got operators lined up, they want to do it. We're really hopeful that will be up and running maybe May, early June kind of thing. Work has also started, long waited work on the Blakey Moor Terrace. But you will have noticed that it is the wind of last week discovered one or two cracks in the building. So we're gamely shoring it up at this current moment, because well anyway, we don't want it to fall down, so we are shoring it up. But ironically, in fact, the team Forest of Blackburn were already on site, so mercifully they know the building inside out. So we could hopefully see some at least activity. I think it's about a year's piece of work that will convert that into a kind of two restaurant spaces down below, bit of a space in the middle, decking out the back, and then a sort of look out onto the Barton Street car park, you know, so that should be that anyway. That will develop as the year rolls on. There's a lot of work being done on a very exciting piece of work in the corner of Barton Street car park, on what used to be called Room Alley, the Asian restaurant. Some guys from Leicester are going to convert it into a very exciting kind of glass and sort of balconied building. Very keen. They're very keen to move into the town. I mean, there's some of you will have seen there's a number of planning applications have come in for converting old pubs into restaurants. The Grapes is one of them. There's a lot of work going on King William Street in the old Malloy Squires. Very exciting. Their planning application going to be something called Saffron City or something like that. I mean, I recognise from the emails that I get that not everybody thinks these are wonderful developments, and that somehow or other the council ought to make them into pubs of a 1970s vintage. And I'm at a complete bloody loss to understand how anybody thinks we're going to do that. And you know, this is a market, and this is a market really, and those buildings have stood around waiting for pubs, to publicans, beer groups and such like to buy them, and nobody is doing. My view is that it is far better for us to have thriving restaurants in there than to have them standing around empty. I'm afraid for some of the people who correspond with me, I'm afraid the world's just changed really. The sort of beery culture that I and people like me and Paul Mason, I can mention him, took part in the 1970s and 80s. It doesn't exist anymore, really. It's a minority interest. So, and the beer companies know that, really, the breweries know that. So the good news, as I said, is that there's activity all over the place. The disappointing news, if you hanker for a return to Blackburn of the 1970s, is that it's not going to be like that. The other thing just to mention, we've got a number of festivals coming this year. We're going to lose the vaccination tent, incidentally, fairly soon, which will, I think it served a great purpose, but I think it's time for it to move on. We've got the Festival of Making, obviously, which we're all really excited about because we've had to cancel the last two. And I know that the organisers have been working away, doing the imaginative stuff that they do. So that will be happening. We've got a pretty wacky thing happening called the Tour de Moon. And I say this with my face straight. It comes here with the express support of the Prime Minister, and it is a celebration of all things electrical vehicles. And I'm holding my face straight. This is what it is. And apparently a whole bundle of electrical vehicles are going to turn up in a convoy and then going to become other things like sort of photographic booths and little DJ places and such like. So anyway, they've picked to come to Blackburn, which is we're pleased about. I think it indicates that maybe we're getting the message across that this is the sort of stuff we like doing. Some of you will have noticed there's going to be a gay pride festival in Blackburn for the first time, which ought to bring crowds in. There's obviously a 3-day music event at Ewood Park, but we've been it finishes at 9 o'clock each day, and we've been at great pains to try and make sure that the organisers then invite the audience or the spectators to come back into the town centre. And then, I mean, the other thing, just as that sort of is a bit like breaking news, is that some of you will have noticed that an artist whose studios are in the centre of Blackburn, Jamie Holman, has secured the rather prestigious sort of job of doing a Lancashire celebration of the Queen's platinum jubilee reign on the thing, and he's being commissioned to make a series of tapestries. And some of us, Peter was there, in fact, last Friday, listened to Jamie give a very articulate explanation of what he's going to do. But the really exciting news is that for the first few months of their lives, these are going to be located in Blackburn Cathedral. Now, they must be a tourist attraction. They just simply have to be. And at the time of their biggest interest, then they'll be here. So, it'll be behoven on all of us really to start to think about what else do we do if lots of people from outside of the borough turn up. We don't want them to just jump back in their cars and go back to wherever they've come from. So we need to think about what we do, what other things we can direct them to. So I think between us, Catherine and Claire and various people at the council, we're going to give that some sort of thought. It could be a really interesting, exciting development. I think that's more or less it, other than just I have to do this. We're currently in the process of consulting on the local plan. This is a borough-wide Blackburn with Darwen local plan, sets the sort of tone for land usage and such like. In fact, through to the 2037, in fact, is the time scale. The master plan for the town centre is a feature of that, and there's going to be I've started this and I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. I was going to say there's going to be a day of drop-in, talk about it at Blackburn Library, and I'm pretty sure it's next week. But Catherine, here, right, okay, good, you've done that. So yeah, so anyone who's interested there will be lots of planners there, lots of council experts. So anyone who's interested in having a view on that, then please drop in and talk about it. So, I think the good news is that it feels, touching wood, that we can start to plan some of these new ideas with a bit of confidence, and hopefully start to really get people back in the town centre.
Thank you, Phil. Really helpful and really encouraging, isn't it? You can obviously see different things happening with the planning applications that you've mentioned, that gives an indication of confidence that people have got in the town to come back. Great reputation for all the festivals and activities, so that gives everybody something to look forward to there. And then key, I think, as you said, building accommodation in the town centre. Getting people living in the town centre will encourage people to come in, to stay in the town centre, to enable businesses and the restaurant trade to grow as well, which can only be good for everybody of the town. So it's really good news, and it's good that the council's continuing there to invest and make changes and keep making the place better. So that's really, really encouraging. Thank you. Right, so we're now up to the bit where Catherine's going to take us through the election of the BID executive board members for 2022.
Yeah, thank you. It helps if I take myself off mute, doesn't it? So yeah, Lisa's just going to put up some slides to help me talk through. There we go. The election of positions for the Blackburn BID Executive Board. So as our chair touched on at the beginning of the meeting, there are 15 permanent and elected positions on the board, and the role of the board is to guide and direct the delivery of the BID business plan, appoint an accountable body, which is Newground, who I work for, guide and monitor the work and performance of me as the BID manager, to approve eligible expenditure and monitor and report performance to you, the levy payers. In 2021, there were 13 executive board members, and the board met 6 times last year, including in November for a strategic planning session, which I touched on earlier. We've got one executive board member retiring from Blackburn BID Executive Board, and that's Sue Burns, who's the store manager of Boots in the Mall. So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Sue for all her help and support over the time that she's been an executive board member. We've had no new nominations at the moment for this AGM for executive board members. That can change during the year, so if there is anybody that wants to put themselves forward, please do that. Just contact me and we can make arrangements, because there's a procedure to put yourself forward for the board in between AGMs, and then it can be confirmed at the time of the AGM. So that means we've got 12 executive board members proposed for this year, 2022. So we've got the list there for you. So there's no changes other than Sue coming off the executive board, and our chair mentioned earlier that we had 2 representatives for Marks and Spencer. That's because Adriana's moved stores and Eleanor, who's the new store manager, has taken over at Marks and Spencer's, and so she's a member of the executive board. And at Blackburn Youth Zone, Melanie and Dwayne are going to be sharing the position, because that works better for them operationally, and it's fantastic because we get 2 heads for the price of 1, if that's the right way to describe it. So that's the proposed executive board makeup for this year, with Nicola remaining as our chair and Lorraine from the Mall remaining as vice chair. The chat's open. If you've got any objections or feedback about that, please indicate it now or forever hold your peace. And if there's no objections, then our executive board positions will be confirmed for this year. So I'll just, there's nobody typing. It seems like everybody's okay with it. So yeah, we'll proceed to say that that's confirmed for our executive board 2022. I look forward to working with you all again, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you there, Catherine. So we're very close to the end now of the AGM. In terms of questions and monitoring the chat, I know that Catherine's been doing that. So now's the opportunity really to ask any questions if you want to ask any questions. I know that Scott has left the meeting, but Steve Dundon's here from the police service. If you want to ask any questions, please do. I don't think there's anything particularly in the chat.
There isn't, no.
Speak out or pop the hands up, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, obviously, people know where Catherine is. You can always contact Catherine and engage directly there. I don't think there's anybody coming forward with anything at the moment, so that's fine. So we'll now move to close the annual general meeting. The meeting is going to be shared online for anybody who couldn't attend and join us this afternoon, and you can find it on the Blackburn BID YouTube channel. and on Blackburn BID social media channels and on the BID website as well. And Catherine will send out a link to the recording as well to the BID mailing list to make sure everyone's had the opportunity to watch that back. So, just for me to big thank you for everybody joining us today. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to Catherine and Lisa in particular. And I think obviously it's really good and encouraging, isn't it, to hear positive feedback from businesses, to see the good work that's taken place last year, but also the plans for this year and the plans for the town for this year as well. So there are some exciting things to look out for as we come out of the difficultness of the last 2 years, and hopefully more investment, more people in the town centre, more festivals and more national and international recognition for the town is what we're all looking for, isn't it? So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.